Hi, my name's Jeanette, and I'm here to tell you how to apply kiln wash the easiest and the best way. First of all, you want to select your kiln wash. Now, it's important that you select one that's going to be appropriate to what you're doing. If you're casting or working in a higher temperatures above the normal slumping temperature of about 1250, you want to make sure that you use a high temperature kiln wash. Today I'm going to be applying Primo Primer, which is a high temperature kiln wash. I use it on everything. If you don't want to use Primo Primer, just regular kiln wash will work beautifully on your slumped pieces, but it's not so effective for your casting molds. Our Primo Primer is purple, and that's so that you can see it. Most Primo Primer isn't this color, but you wouldn't be able to see it if we didn't have it that. One of the things you always want to do is make sure that your kiln wash is well mixed. It settles very quickly, so you want to make sure that you stir it between every application. The other thing that you have to make sure you're doing is you're working on a clean mold. If you look here, this mold hasn't got any kiln wash at all, so this one's going to be easy. But if you look here, this mold, I'm not sure whether you can see this, but this mold is quite badly abused. It's got a lot of kiln wash in the corners, it's cracked, and it's chipping. If you don't take that off, and you just put kiln wash right over it, it's going to come off with your piece, and then you're going to be a very unhappy person. When we're taking the kiln wash off, we use what's called a sanding screen. It's actually the same thing they use to sand drywall. It doesn't load up with the dust of the kiln wash, so it's very good for sanding these things. It also will not sand away the actual body of the mold. So a sanding screen is excellent. It's very easy to get a hold of, and it's flexible so you can get it in the corners. If you're removing kiln wash, make sure that you wear some type of a dust mask. The kiln wash is a silicone-based product. It's very fine, and you don't want to inhale it. So we pull our dust mask on, fit it around our glasses, and then using your screen, you're going to sand and remove every bit of kiln wash. Now, if you do an inferior job and then you put your kiln wash over it, you'll have wasted your time. So make sure you remove all of that kiln wash. After you've got your mold prepared, you're going to take a brush. Now, we use a Hake brush, which is actually the brush they use for applying inks when they're doing brush paintings, ink brush paintings. We use that because it has a very long, soft bristle, and it will hold up it'll hold a lot of material. Again, we're going to stir up our kiln wash. Get our brush all loaded up. You don't want it drippy. Then you're just going to apply your kiln wash evenly and smoothly. It is better to have a thin layer, or rather several thin layers, than to have one thick layer. And the reason is, when you go to fire your piece, if there's any marks in the wash, any drips or bubbles or big thick lumps of kiln wash, that will show up on your piece. It will transmit through to the bottom of your piece. Now, I'm not going to do all 8 layers because you really don't want to watch me do that. But in general, when we apply kiln wash, we apply it in 8 thin layers, brushed evenly across. Brush out any thick bunches that you got there. And then this purple kiln wash is really nice because you can actually see that. And then the second layer I'm going to put on, and every other layer, I'm going to run perpendicular so that I've got the most even layer of kiln wash that I can get. Once your kiln wash is applied, and like I say, I'm not going to put all 8 layers on here right now, but you, I think, get the idea. If you find that you've got something like a drip, and I think you can see right there, I just caused a drip, right in here where the kiln wash is thicker, once it's dry, you can brush that out with your finger. And even after you've fired the plate, you can still give that a little brush lightly and brush out those thick parts, and you want to do that before you put your glass on here. Once you've got the kiln wash applied, don't neglect the step of drying your kiln wash. Even after it's been sitting for a couple of hours and it feels dry, there's still water trapped in the kiln wash. It's always a good precaution to take that piece, put it in your kiln, or you can actually use your own home oven, and heat it to at least 500 degrees for at least 15 minutes to make sure that all the water is out of it. Then you're ready to use it to slump your molds and have a great time. Thank you.